This week, the big story in immigration is about the migrant caravan, which right now is apparently lined up outside the border crossing point between Tijuana, Mexico and San Ysidro, California. Everything you hear in the news these days is talking about asylum, how these folks are coming to request asylum in the United States and whether or not they should be granted asylum. And as I listen to the stories in the news, it's pretty clear most people really don't have a good grasp or understanding of what asylum actually is. And that's really nobody's fault. I mean, nobody's born knowing this stuff. Asylum is part of an international legal framework where countries say we have a responsibility as a country to take care of people who are being forced out of their homeland for certain very particular reasons. Not for every reason under the sun, but for a set of things that countries have all agreed on are a reason to protect people. Now, to give you an example of just how, in general, complicated asylum law is, I brought a copy today of the Asylum Primer. Now, this is from the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and it's called A Practical Guide to U.S. Asylum Law. It is 1,598 pages long, and you're welcome to read it if you want. If you want to come by the office and use our library, we'd be glad to let you look at it. But if you don't want to do that, and you just want kind of a general understanding of what asylum law is, that's what I'm here to give you today. Asylum is protection based on one of 5 particular protected grounds. And those grounds are race, religion, national origin, political opinion, membership in a particular social group. Now, particular social group can mean a whole lot of different things, but the general way to think about it is that a person's a member of a group. They're a member of the group because of something they either can't change about themselves or that everybody agrees they shouldn't have to change about themselves. And this group is what's called visible in society. In other words, in their particular country, it's generally recognized as a group. Some examples of this might include discrimination based on sexual orientation, for example, or certain types of domestic violence based on the way relationships are structured in a country. Now, the persecution has to take place either by the government or by some group that the government either can't control or won't control. And that really, in a nutshell, is who gets asylum protection. So if somebody's coming to the border of the United States, say, and they are making a claim that they're being persecuted by their government because of their race, for example, or because of their political opinion, maybe they're a member of a political group that's out of favor right now, or their religion. These are things that the international community recognizes, okay, we should take you in and take care of you until things are better back where you came from. But many of the stories that we've seen in the news really are focused on other things. They're focused on things like poverty in the home country, or the danger from crime in the home country, or the danger from gangs in the home country, or the question of whether young people, for example, are going to be recruited into a gang in their home country. These, by and large, are not recognized grounds for asylum. That's not to say that they're not serious, or that they're not real, or that they're not important problems that need to be dealt with. But under the law, those generally don't qualify for asylum. So what's going to happen with these folks who are coming to the border, the migrants, or this caravan, or any other person who comes to the border looking for asylum? Well, what generally happens is they're processed by the Border Patrol, and then they receive an interview to see if they have what's called credible fear. What credible fear means is that they express a fear of returning to their home, that they themselves are believable. In other words, the asylum officer doing the interview says, yeah, it appears this person is telling the truth, and that they can show that they're likely to be persecuted based on one of these protected grounds, meaning that there's a good likelihood that when they go to a full asylum hearing, that they're going to win. Under those circumstances, when a person has credible fear, generally in the past, it's been the process to release them from custody until their hearing. And that makes sense too, because if you're talking to somebody who is being persecuted and is telling the truth and really can't go back to their home country, there's really no advantage to anybody in keeping them in detention. I mean, what purpose does it serve? It fills up the jails, it punishes them, and it makes everybody else pay for their care until the hearing takes place. So generally, up until recently, those people have been released. If somebody doesn't have a credible fear, then typically they're not released, and their case is going to go forward while they remain in detention. That's the way the system is supposed to work. And by and large, up until recently, it's the way that it has been working. And it's the responsibility of the United States, as the responsibility is of every other member of the international community, to treat everybody fairly, to treat everybody honestly, to protect people who deserve to be protected, and for those who aren't going to be successful in asylum claims, at least to deal with their claims quickly enough where they can then proceed with their lives and not be in limbo or worse, stuck in jail. What the United States doesn't need is a system that puts in extra burdens for people, that penalizes them for requesting asylum even when they have legitimate claims. Examples are, like we've seen lately, extended detention, keeping people in jail even if they may have good claims, so that maybe they'll give those up and leave. That's not fair, and that's not the way the law is supposed to work. Or keeping people outside the border because the government claims it doesn't have the resources to process them, which is what's going on right now down in San Ysidro. So, if you understand what asylum basically is, then you're better equipped to understand the issues involved when people come to the border and ask for asylum, how the system is supposed to treat them. If you have more questions about asylum or about immigration law in general, if you want to come by and read the asylum primer in our office, or if you want to know if we can help you with a case that you have, please feel free to give us a call at area code 423-402-0608, or to contact us through our website at www.lesterlaw.org. You can also follow us on Facebook so that you'll get these videos when they come out, generally once a week, or subscribe to our YouTube channel where all the past videos are also there so you can look back and see if there's topics that interest you. So until next time, stay safe, stay strong. We'll see you soon.